We don't owe the quitter caucus squat. You don't owe them jack squat and jack left town. Nothing. Here's the path, because the path matters. I'm going to go through 2 specific states. So this path's going to have 3 components. When I say the path, I mean the path forward to possible victory. Could be small, but I'm not giving up. Path number 1, Arizona. Path number 2, Pennsylvania. We require all 3 of these, but I'm going to talk about Arizona, Pennsylvania. Then we're going to talk about a conglomerate of states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, potentially Georgia as well. Path number 1, what do we need in Arizona first? And ladies and gentlemen, all these things have to align. Again, the chances are small, but they are not irrelevant. Folks, Arizona could flip right now. Please go to my show notes today. They're stacked. I usually put 5 to 6 stories. There's about 10 of them there because all of them are critical for your understanding of the path forward. Bongino.com/newsletter is how you subscribe free to the show notes. The newsletter is the show notes. Please read this. The great Liz Vaughn at Bongino.com who writes for us. Biden's lead in Arizona falls to 19,000 votes. It's actually below that now as Trump campaign files lawsuit. I thought Arizona was done. I mean, Arnie Michigan and Fox told us Arizona was done. No. Don't misread me at all. Oh, I got your emails. Oh, hey. Got it?
Yeah.
You got it? Remember Meet the Parents? Remember De Niro?
Yeah.
Fokker. Audience folks who've been emailing me, hey, you matter to me more than anyone. You understand? Anyone. Things are going on right now. Some of you probably caught on too. Not sacrificing my principles or credibility for anyone. Arizona's not over. I don't care who told you that. Arizona's lead is dwindling by the moment for Biden. Screenshot from Bongino.com. This is from Friday. It's even less now. On Friday, Biden's lead in the battleground state of Arizona stood at 47,000 votes. By Friday night, it narrowed to 31,000. On Saturday, it been whittled down to 18,000, or 0.62% of the vote. According to historian and retired professor Larry Schweikert, there are roughly 200,000 votes left to count. Schweikert writes that it's quite doable to win, that is, for Trump in Arizona, especially at the rates they've been coming in for Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a better than good chance that Arizona flips red. I thought they said it was over. I don't care who told you that. I'm telling you it's not. So Arizona, we need. Arizona is 11 electoral votes? We need those. Very little will be possible without Arizona. But there's a better than good chance that we won Arizona. Let me go to point number 2 here. Again, we're talking about the path forward here. All these things need to happen, not just one. So let's say we do flip Arizona. Ladies and gentlemen, although Pennsylvania is showing right now a relatively decent lead for Joe Biden, Pennsylvania's got big problems, folks. Huge problems. Let's go to problem number 1, this Washington Examiner piece. Again, in the show notes today, Bongino.com/newsletter. Please check it out. Lindsey Graham calls for a DOJ investigation after U.S. Postal Service whistleblower affidavit alleges ballot fraud by Kerry Pickett, the great Kerry Pickett. And I mean that. Oh, what? Joe, whistleblower. I thought we were told with the Ukraine hoax that whistleblowers should be on the Mount Olympus, up there with Athena and Zeus and all your fake gods, that they should be up. Were you not told that, Joe? Whistleblowers?
Yeah.
Remember the you can't even mention his name on YouTube. Those hacks on YouTube. You can't even mention the guy's name. He is so deified, no human being is worthy to speak the fake Ukraine whistleblowers, even his name. You speak his name, it's like everybody has to start chanting. Because he's like the unspoken Messiah. You can't even say his name. Thou whose name shall not be mentioned. Because people were genuflect on their knee. Oh, touch me. Just touch my forehead. I'll go right to the afterlife. He was worshipped. So now we have a whistleblower with a sworn under oath affidavit who works at the Postal Service saying this. And all of a sudden now whistleblowers don't matter anymore. Joe, weird how that happens, right?
Yeah, that is.
I know, Joe, you're stunned. I know. Deal with it for a moment. I don't want you to have to take your nitroglycerin pills or anything. So the guy's name, the whistleblower, works for the post office. His name is Hopkins. So he described this conversation he had with one of his supervisors at the post office on Thursday. Keep in mind, it's an under oath affidavit, folks. Meanwhile, meaning he's sworn to it for the liberals listening. So these are his supervisors here. This guy Weisenbach and Locke discussed how on November 4th, that's the day after Election Day for the Libs, they had backdated the postmark on all but one of the ballots collected on November 4th. You mean ballots after Election Day? Gosh, I thought Election Day, that's weird. I thought the election was on Election Day, not the day after. To make it appear as though the ballots had instead been collected on November 3rd. The whistleblower overheard Weisenbach tell Locke that they, quote, messed up yesterday on November 4th, 2020 by accidentally postmarking one ballot as having been collected November 4th when it was collected actually the day earlier. Whistleblower. I thought whistleblowers were to be, like James Bond Goldfinger. We were supposed to wrap them in gold and worship their statue. That's what we were told, right? You can't even mention the Ukraine fake whistleblower, again, without instant deification and chanting. You have to chant because he's the Holy One. He's Neo from the Matrix. And yet we got a whistleblower under oath going, hey, Pennsylvania, I'm swearing under oath that there were backdated ballots. And then you have other people on news networks and elsewhere. There's no evidence of fraud. Move on. There's no evidence.
Yeah.
What is a sworn affidavit from a post office worker saying bunches of ballots were backdated to make them appear legal when they weren't? I don't understand. Wait. I'm confused. There's no evidence. Bumbling buffoons. But we're journalists. You're dopes is what you are. There's evidence. You just don't like the evidence. If the evidence, by the way, Joe, was that 500 Trump ballots, Biden ballots were thrown out after election, they'd be like, there's definitely evidence here. There's evidence everywhere. We have a whistleblower. Don't even dare mention his name. Don't even dare. If you do, you have to chant. That's them the whistleblower. But because he's a whistleblower saying, hey, a whole bunch of ballots were backdated to make them appear legal when they weren't. There's no evidence. There's no evidence. Double-barreled middle fingerooski to you all. We'll talk about what we want. So let's center ourselves again. So here's the path forward. We must flip Arizona. There's a better than good chance that could happen. Back to Donald Trump's column. Secondly, we have to expose this fraud in Pennsylvania right now. Let me tell you another interesting anomaly about Pennsylvania, specifically Philadelphia. Ladies and gentlemen, there are roughly 970,000 registered voters, voter records in Philadelphia. Keep that number in your head. Nationwide voter turnout was pretty high. Some places in the high 70s, which is really, really high. So Philadelphia, where Donald Trump actually overperformed a little bit in his 2016 election. Joe, wouldn't you think it'd be reasonable if high voter turnout around the nation was 75, 76, 77%? All right, maybe Philly people just were really active. Philly's a largely minority city. Sadly, we underperform there. I don't know why, but we do. We don't do well, historically with black voters. But there's not a lot of passion for Joe Biden. So you'd probably say to yourself, Joe, so Philly turnout, even if it was high, 75, 76, 77%, right? Sounds about right. Math, liberal statistics, anomalies and stuff. Let me quote Joe. Joe's right in his That's an accurate quote. What if I told you voter turnout looks like it's going to be 95%?
No.
Crazy.
No.
Keep the nitro pills. I get it. Elizabeth, he's coming for. I understand. 95%, that's a... Gosh, no evidence. There's no evidence. Everybody be quiet and just concede. Everybody just concede. There's nothing to concede, but we should concede because the media is telling us to concede. Right. Weird, right? 95% turnout in Philly. That's just insane how they're looking at almost 890 to 900,000 votes out of 970,000 voter files, which is crazy because I've heard dead people have voted too. Now, that's not hard to prove. You know why, Joe? Because they're dead. So, like, they died. Like, there's a death record. Like, they're not breathing. No neuronal communication in the brain area. The heart's not functioning. There's no oxygen transfer. You understand that? There's no lung function. None of that's happening. The body's not working. So you can't vote when you're dead. Everybody understands that, right? But there again, there's no evidence of fraud. We have actual records of people we know are dead because there's a death record who voted in that Philadelphia area. But again, there's no evidence. So let's do that. And then let's win the Supreme Court case and get this ridiculous Pennsylvania law that wasn't a law at all. It was made up by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court that they can accept votes after Election Day thrown out because that's not what the law in Pennsylvania says. So first we need Arizona. Second, in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. We can win Pennsylvania by exposing the fraud, getting illegal ballots tossed out, and hearing out the whistleblower who would be deified if he was, again, a whistleblower who was speaking out against Trump. So let's do those three things before we concede something we don't need to concede because we haven't lost anything.
You just heard Dan Bongino.